Well, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I can't see if you can see me all in this. Let me back it up a little bit. All right. Let me point it in the right direction. That looks about right. So anyway, this CT2 here, if I sound frustrated, I am. This CT2 was running fairly good, but it was running a little lean. The idle wouldn't drop back down after it got warmed up, so it'd idle real fast. So I thought, well, I didn't replace the crank seals, and that can cause it to run lean. So I went and got me two OEM crank seals. I put them both in, and while I was in there, I replaced the clutch basket, which had a tab busted, one of the tabs busted off of it. And while I was in the clutch, I also replaced the clutch springs, which were a little bit out of tolerance. Now, I don't want to spend a lot of money on this bike. It ran good. It's got good compression. It's got good spark. And it's getting fuel. I've been through the carb about 4 times now. I put fuel directly into the cylinder. It still won't start. I said, well, maybe the timing's off. Now this one, the stator plate is fixed in position with screws that, well, I forget what you call it, tapered head screws, you know. So the stator plate itself can't move. So I went in and I checked the gap on the spark plug. I think most of these are supposed to be 0.3 millimeters. And I got out my gear and set it up to top dead center and put it back to where it should be for the proper timing. And then I adjusted the points. And at top dead center, you should set the points to 0.3. Then you turn the engine backwards. I forget what the number is now. But a certain amount of millimeters, you turn it backwards. And at that point, the points should break. Now this one has a mark on it, so you can actually check the timing on this with a timing light. Believe it or not. I guess you probably could on all the others too, if you were pretty certain that the markings were correct. So let's take a look at the markings and see what we got here. All right, I'm going to need external light here, I think. All right, the timing mark, you can see that little mark right there. All right, and the one you want to match that up with is, oops, come on, right there. Now hopefully you can see in that hole, and let me get something to point it out with, but right there is the mark in there. So once you go through all the set it up with the dial gauge and all that, and you just want to check it and make sure it's okay, you can hook up your timing light and make sure you got a 12-volt battery that you can hook that up with. That needs 12 volts to work. Most of them do, I think. And then you take the spark plug out, but make sure it's grounded. That's so you can turn over the engine pretty easy. The clip is on the high voltage lead, And we're going to try and get this. Let me get down a little bit so maybe it'll make it easier to see. We're going to try and capture this. I don't know if let's see. Can you see this here? Yep, that's visible. All right, now we take our drill and put it on that. Remember, you turn counterclockwise. And we take our timing light and we look straight on. Let's turn this around. And you can see that the timing mark is just about right on that. Might be a little bit off. Shouldn't be enough to make a difference. I hope that showed up. I don't know for sure. But this thing will not start. Even with gas in the cylinder, it won't start. All right, I'm still frustrated. Well, folks, I think maybe I found the problem. You could probably just paint me bright red right now, because I was putting my tools away, gonna go in and take a little break, have a cup of coffee, and I went over to the workbench to gather up some tools, and look what I found. And there isn't one in there. Oh no! I forgot to put this little, what do you call them? Valves in. I'll bet you this will run a lot better when I put these back. I always forget what these are called. Butterflies. No, not butterflies. I don't know. Anyway. Don't be like me.